Look at your hand. Every line, every vein, every rhythmic pulse of your heart is a testament to a world that is small, safe, and controlled. We have spent thousands of years convinced that we are the masters of this blue marble. But that is only because the real owners of the sky have been dead for 66 million years. Nature didn't just evolve these creatures. It engineered them to a point where physics itself began to fail. Meet Tom. He is our constant. 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, a healthy, modern human being. Beside him, we place the baseline of our sky, the House Sparrow. It is a tiny, fragile vibration of feathers that weighs less than the coins in your pocket. To the sparrow, Tom is a mountain. To us, the sparrow is a ghost. But as the camera begins its long, relentless journey backward, the mountain is about to become a pebble. Enter the peregrine falcon, a living scythe that has perfected the art of the gravitational kill. When it tucks its wings and enters a stoop, it becomes the fastest biological object on Earth, hitting 240 miles per hour. Next to Tom, it is a weapon. A beautiful, lethal masterpiece of evolution. But as the frame expands, the falcon is swallowed by the shadow of the golden eagle. 7 feet of wingspan, talons that can exert a crushing force of 400 pounds per square inch. The golden eagle is a king in our world, capable of dragging mountain goats off cliffs. Yet in the grand timeline of the sky, the golden eagle is nothing more than a toy. We retreat further, and the air begins to grow thick with the smell of old blood and ancient forests. The Haas eagle emerges from the mist of New Zealand. This was the bird that dared to be a monster. It didn't hunt mice. It hunted the moa flightless giants that weighed 500 pounds. Tom is now staring at a bird that could strike with the force of a falling anvil, its claws reaching for his spine. For the Haas eagle, a human being isn't a master of the planet. We are simply a soft, slow-moving meal. But as the feathers begin to fade into the distance, we cross a terrifying boundary in time. The Argentavis magnificens glides into the frame, and the scale of the world begins to warp. With a wingspan of 24 feet, this Miocene titan was the size of a Cessna 150 airplane. Imagine a bird so heavy it couldn't just flap to take off. It had to run down slopes, waiting for a headwind to lift its 150-pound body. Tom could stand under its outstretched wing as if he were standing under the awning of a building. Argentavis were alive today, it wouldn't be a bird you'd watch through binoculars. It would be a bird you'd track on radar. But even this feathered giant is a mere shadow of the leathery kings that are about to claim the screen. We are leaving the era of birds and entering the era of the Pterosaurs, the entities that gravity forgot. The Pteranodon longiceps descends. 25 feet of wingspan, tipped with hooked claws that look like meat hooks. Its head is a jagged aerodynamic blade of bone, balanced by a crest that acted as a biological rudder in the high-altitude winds. Tom is now staring into a cold, reptilian eye that hasn't seen a human in 65 million years. The Pteranodon doesn't chirp, doesn't sing. It hisses with the sound of wind rushing through a cave. And yet, in the hierarchy of the prehistoric sky, the Pteranodon was just a scavenger, a mid-sized player in a game of giants. The camera retreats again, and now the scale begins to break the human brain's ability to process dimensions. The Nyctosaurus appears, and physics begins to scream in protest. Carries a crest on its head that is 3 times the length of its entire body, giant biological sail made of bone and membrane. It looks like a nightmare's version of a lightning bolt. In a storm, this creature didn't fight the wind, it wore the wind. It could stay at sea for months, never touching land, a literal ghost of the atmosphere. But as we zoom out, the Nyctosaurus is eclipsed by a flash of impossible color and scale. The Tupandactylus arrives with a head crest so massive it looks like a stained glass window from a forgotten cathedral. It is an evolution of vanity, a creature that sacrificed everything for the most dominant silhouette in the sky. But beneath its beauty is a predator that could snap a man's arm like a dry twig. Now look at Tom. He is no longer a man. He is a metric. A tiny 6-foot ruler used to measure the end of the world. The ground begins to shake as the Cryodraken, the frozen dragon of the north, walks into the frame. It doesn't fly in, it walks on all fours, its wings folded into stilt-like front legs. Standing 16 feet tall, it looks directly into the second-story windows of a suburban home. Tom could walk between its front legs without even bowing his head. He is a mouse in the presence of a giraffe made of skin and bone. The cryodraken has a neck longer than Tom's entire body, a biological crane designed to reach down and pluck prey from the tall grass. It doesn't chew, it doesn't struggle. It simply tilts its head back and lets gravity do the work. But the frozen dragon is just a sentinel for the high-altitude monarchs. The Arambergiania enters the frame, and the air itself seems to thin out in its presence. A 33-foot wingspan. A neck that was originally mistaken by paleontologists for a giant dinosaur's leg bone. It is a spindly, terrifying needle of bone designed to cruise at altitudes where oxygen is a luxury. If it landed in the middle of a city street, its wings would span from sidewalk to sidewalk, blocking all traffic. But we are still zooming. We are still searching for the limit of what life can sustain. The Quetzalcoatlus Northropy claims the center of the screen, and the world goes silent. This is the organism that redefined the ceiling of biology, a wingspan of nearly 40 feet. It is the size of an F-16 fighter jet, but it is alive. It is warm. It is hungry. To take off, it didn't flap like a bird. It used its massive pectoral muscles to vault its 500-pound body into the air like a catapult. Once airborne, it could travel 10,000 miles without landing, circling the globe on nothing but the planet's thermal energy. Its beak is 6 feet of serrated bone, capable of picking up a baby triceratops as easily as a robin picks up a worm. Tom is now so small he is barely visible. He is a snack. He is a footnote in the biography of a king. But we promised you the 9.5 out of 10. We promised you the entity that science is still trying to understand. Look at the shadow that is now covering the entire frame. A shadow so large it cools the earth beneath it. The Hatzegopteryx enters the scene, and even the Quetzalcoatlus looks like a fragile glider in comparison. While the others were built for the grace of the sky, the Hatzegopteryx was built for the brutality of the ground. It lived on the island of Hatzegopteryx, a place where there were no giant predatory dinosaurs. So the Hatzegopteryx decided to fill the void. It became the tyrant, became the nightmare. Its skull was nearly 10 feet long, massive, wide, and reinforced for impact. Its neck was a pillar of bone, thick enough to absorb the shock of a charging bull or a struggling prey. It didn't just fly, it dominated the land, walking through the prehistoric scrub and crushing the skulls of everything in its path. It was a Tyrannosaurus with wings. It's a god of the air that chose to hunt on the ground because nothing could stop it. But wait, the camera is still moving. The zoom is not stopped. Because in the deep strata of the earth, in the silent deserts of Jordan, and the windswept hills of Mongolia, we found fragments. Just fragments. A single neck vertebra. A piece of a wing bone that defies every chart we have ever made. When you apply the laws of biomechanics to these pieces, you find the 11th entity. The Phantom Kings. Creatures with wingspans estimated at 45, 50, perhaps even 60 feet. These were the absolute limits of biological engineering. Entities so massive they could not exist in our world today. Their takeoff would create a shockwave that would shatter glass. Their wings would create thunder in a clear sky. Nature had to delete them. Not because they failed, but because they won. They grew so large and so efficient that the Earth's changing atmosphere could no longer feed their massive hearts. The oxygen levels dropped, the climate shifted, and the kings were forced into the dirt. Tom is gone now. He is a microscopic speck on a planet that used to belong to monsters. We zoom out until the Earth is a pale blue dot, and these 10 kings are just dust trapped in layers of rock. The sky you see today is a quiet, empty room where the giants used to dance. The House Sparrow chirps on your windowsill, a tiny, distant echo of a time when the clouds were a war zone. But every time you feel that sudden, cold shiver when a large shadow crosses your path, every time you look up at a storm and imagine a shape even darker than the clouds, that is your ancient primate DNA remembering what it was like to be hunted from above. Nature hit the delete button to give us a chance to breathe, to give Tom a chance to exist. The kings are dead. Their thrones are empty, their bones are oil, but the scale of their reign will never be matched by anything man can build. Respect the silence of the sky, for it was bought with the extinction of the most magnificent entities to ever breathe. The giants are gone, the horizon is clear, the sun is yours. For now, but remember, The Earth has a habit of bringing back its favorite nightmares. And next time, Tom might not be the one holding the camera. He might just be the first thing they see when they wake up. Sleep well, and don't forget to look up, because the sky is never as empty as it seems.